mic. It's the Joes. Who? The Joes. Where? On the mic. Why? Because the people want us. What's going on, Dave?
Hey, first of all, let's talk about this music. I'm over here I was kind of jigging to that, I didn't get to hear before everybody got to hear, so I'm over here kind of vibing with that.
Hey, I thought you was going to bust out with one of your patented flows. I know you got a couple from high school, man.
Hey, I started to give bars. I started to give a couple bars, and
Well, I tell you what. Maybe we'll do one of these bets we have coming up. You know what I mean? Whoever loses the bet, got to throw a couple of bars on the track. How about that?
I'm for it. I'm with it. I'm down for the call.
Yeah. But for those of you that don't know, YouTube tried to shut us down one point in time because we were using, I think it was AC/DC or something like that, and their music with the Thunder. I mean, very, very famous stuff. I didn't think they would come after the small, but apparently we're bigger than we thought because they came after us, told us we couldn't use it anymore. So we found this. Guy said it's okay to use it, so we should be good to go. Hopefully we don't get shut down again. They can't stop us. We're here for the people and excited about the show. Again, want to thank everyone for coming out once again this evening and the afternoon, whatever, listening to us. We appreciate everyone who has supported the show from the beginning. And for any new listeners, once again, thank you so very much. There was a lot of dead air in between from the last season ending. We still got the playoffs going on, but for fantasy, it's over. And the new fantasy season, but we're going to be here with a lot of great stuff. So do like the video, comment, subscribe. Hit us up on Facebook. That is the Average Joe's Fantasy Football Podcast. And also on Instagram, the Average Joe's Fantasy Football. There is an underscore between each word on Instagram. I do want to mention real quick, we do have the Listener League coming up this year. Going to get started hot and heavy on that. So if you are interested in joining another league or Listener League, drop us a comment here on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Let us know so we can get you in there. First come, first serve. And there will be some awesome prizes, including but not limited to the Creamy Ranch Habanero that I'm always pushing. Love them. That will be one of the prizes, and also we'll have some other stuff as well. Outside of that, I do want to mention we're going to have a website coming out. Going to have some of our rankings. I believe Dave and I right now are working on some of our rankings. We have those rankings on there for you guys, along with other free content. So continue to come back and support. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. So if that hasn't been said, Dave, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. It's been weird having to try to find things to watch throughout the week now that football is over. I don't have my Thursday, my Monday, things of that nature, so I'm kind of stuck with watching other things or Netflix. But other than that,
Yeah, catch up on some of your binging.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, man, I typically when it was football night, I worked out. And I came home and I did a little workout, put on the TV while I was watching football, lift some weights, whatever, maybe jump some rope, whatever. Now that football is not on, it's like I gotta keep because I'll be hyped for football, so I got all this extra energy, so I use it to work out. And now that it's not on, it's like, man, I don't really feel like going home and working.
It's more than a game. This is life changing.
Absolutely. No, but it's great. The great thing though, I mean, this is my first year playing Dynasty. So it's really awesome to have even the off-season season stuff, and we're in the Dynasty League together. There's still a lot of chatter going on, still a lot of trades, still a lot of nonsense happening. We got a guy in our league that always keeps it interesting. I've learned how to laugh him off. Well, he keeps it interesting, keeps it fun. Yeah, over the top. But no, even during this offseason, you're talking about trades and things going to be happening next season, and you're trading draft picks, and that's what this show is going to be about, folks. We're going to talk about trades here, some trades we've been looking at, some things that's been run past us, just to kind of get it out there on what we're thinking for some of the players coming up next year. We're going to talk about some trade targets, some people you should be looking at. That's really a great segue because I want to tell everybody I got a new name for Dave. Now, he was no Tonio for quite some time. No Tonio because he didn't want Antonio Brown on his team because of the Madden curse. It didn't quite come to pass the way he was thinking, but Antonio Brown did have somewhat of a turbulent year, so maybe there's a little something there. But my man's new name is Superflex, Dave Superflex Allen. And the question, and you're like, well, why are we calling him Superflex? So here's the deal. I come to my man, my friend, my guy, my road dog, my dude, and say, listen, Cam Newton may not play next year. They're talking about possibly shutting him down. Now, quite honestly, I don't think that's going to happen, but it makes you frightened when Cam Newton is your number one quarterback and all you have behind him is Marcus Mariota. So I say, listen, you're looking pretty good at quarterback, but you could use some other things. Let's talk turkey. He has Matt Ryan and Deshaun Watson. So two top 12 quarterbacks on his team. And I'm saying, listen, let's talk turkey. I want one of them. What can we do? And I'm ready to deal. My man is not hearing me. He's not considering it. I'm like, it's a one quarterback. This is not a super flex. This is not a two quarterback league. One quarterback league. He's turning all offers down. We're not negotiating. It's nothing. So I'm calling my man super flex for a little while because he's worried about that second quarterback on his bench.
Hey, look, just to appeal, really short appeal. First of all,
go ahead.
He comes at me on very, very, very on the different end of the spectrum for me. So let's put that out there first. So in my mind, there's not going to be much negotiating because we're so far opposite ends. It could have been, I don't know, but I just feel like we were on a road to nowhere. I was at work. Yeah,
okay.
It was worth it.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, you start low, right? You say, you know what? That's not going to be enough for my man here. Let me take a look and see what you got. Okay, how about this? I'm going to say, no, that's too much. And then we meet in the middle somewhere. My man he's going to have a great quarterback one on his bench this season, and nobody else can have him. That's all right. I'm like all those points on the. Now, if this was some kind of a best ball league, we'd be good to go. But listen, no, it's all good. I understand where it's coming from. You never know when someone gets hurt. But again, I was ready to deal. Great thing is we got. I was able to go ahead and pick up Phillip Rivers from someone for a second round, 2019. It's a little rich, but I need an insurance policy because I am literally, in my opinion, one player and a half away from being able to contend for a championship in that league for probably the next couple of years. So I can't take a year off, so I made the trade to get Phillip Rivers, and I'm pretty happy with that for a second round. But neither here nor there. Let's go. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was just gonna say that's what it really comes down to. I mean, as this episode we're talking about trading and things of that nature. Not everybody, as you'll see going through, not everybody's gonna agree with your trade. We actually have a different guy in a couple of leagues that we're in together who has something to say about almost every trade that happens.
Yes.
But when it's your team when it comes down to it, if it makes sense for you and where you're trying to go, that's one thing that you moving forward, especially if you're new to fantasy football, new to dynasty, what have you, that's one thing you're gonna have to just look over, look past and just know that you're doing this for your team, not for what everybody else may think.
Absolutely. And you never quite know, and this doesn't have anything to do with trading, but at the beginning, I think in one of our leagues here, the guy had the number 1 overall pick, and he didn't pick Zeke, he didn't pick DJ, he didn't pick Bell, he didn't pick Gurley. My man went with Saquon Barkley, and I think we all clowned him, not saying that Saquon was going to be bad, but no one knew. That's a big pick on someone you don't know. I mean, okay, maybe end of first, maybe, 8, 9, somewhere around there, you pick Saquon because it's still an unknown. He could be the next, Trent Richardson. You never know. The man went number 1 overall, Saquon Barkley, and wound up getting CMC second round, and he dominated that league. He really had a good year. If I'm not mistaken, he's the one that won the championship. Now, I think I'm on his heels here, and again, that's why I'm making some of the moves that I've made here. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. so I can try to keep up with my man. But let's go ahead and dive right in, man. We can kind of do it back and forth style. A couple of trades you're thinking about, a couple of trades I'm thinking about, some things I've seen, some things you've seen, and we'll talk about it a little bit. So what's first up for you, man?
Yeah, one interesting thing, we talked on last podcast about our top fives at each position, and I spoke real highly on, I think, quarterback, receiver, and tight end. I had somebody from the Falcons in each one of my ratings, and I talked about how I'm really high on the Falcons. So one of my teams, I have Julio, and I received an offer that I sent to you earlier this week. I won't really get into that because I declined it. But I did kind of turn it around, and I have an offer out now to the Davante Adams owner, who's in need of a running back. And I've offered, basically like you just said, because, well, I'll tell you the offer first, and we'll just devolve into it after that. But I've offered him Julio Jones, James White, and a second-round rookie. It's a mid-second-round rookie pick for Davante Adams and Marlon Mack. And he asked me, the reason James White is a part of the trade is because that was the guy that he originally asked me for. He told me if he's going to trade anybody, he would want James White to be a part of the deal. And so I'm really high on the Falcons offense, so I'm happy keeping Julio, but I'm much happier with Davante Adams. So
that will be a great trade for you. That would be a great trade. I think in my mind, Davante Adams over Julio, and it's not from a talent standpoint. I think Julio is one of the greatest wide receivers we're probably ever going to see, and he probably is going to end up with the same amount of yardage, which he tends to lead the league or second in the league in yardage every year. It's just the touchdowns that you have to worry about there. I'd probably be a little more comfortable with Davante Adams, just knowing that kind of some of the things we spoke about before. Davante Adams has been double-digit touchdowns for the last few years, and that was with him not being the primary target. Now that he is the primary target in Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers had an off year. So by his standards, had an off year. So if he comes back to form next year, I think Adams can go even higher than he went this year. And if you remember from the last podcast or a couple of podcasts ago, in my mind, he was the number one receiver this year. He took off. He didn't play all 16 games. Played 15, and all he needed was 10 points to be the number one PPR wide receiver last year. So I would love that trade for you. I doubt it would happen. Now, don't get me wrong, though. You're close. Now, Marlon Mack, to me, is also another person that's kind of an upgrade over James White, but they're a little bit closer because James White is so utilized in the passing game. I think last game he had 15 receptions, something like that in the playoffs.
Yes, something ridiculous.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're a little bit closer, and Marlon Mack has a health issue, and he also does have, both of these, systems have multiple running backs. But James White's role is 100% defined. Marlon Mack, Nyheim Hines is there. I don't know, but he's looking really good. So let's call that a wash, and then you put a second rounder. I don't know. You might have to add another. What do you have? Another piece that you could possibly add to that? Maybe a mid-tier wide receiver or something like that.
I have who that I'd be willing to add. I could throw. Well, I would be willing to throw in a Zay Jones, who I think is going to have a pretty good year with the Bills next year.
Yeah. I like that. Actually, I like that because Zay Jones, he's been thrown around a little bit here as someone who's had the potential, just hadn't quite come through, together yet, but can possibly have a breakout year, especially if Josh Allen continues to develop. I would throw that out there, man. I would put that out. I don't think it'll be accepted, but it's close. It would make me think if I was the Adams owner. Absolutely. Let's talk real quickly about that, though. I want to talk about the Falcons offense. Speaking of Matt Ryan, that you wouldn't consider trading, what would it have what would it have taken to get you're the Ryan owner. You're high on the Falcons offense. What does it take to get Matt Ryan from you? And I mean, just kind of give me a you're not looking at my specific team, but spitball scenario.
Oh my goodness. Well, I would need. I would need at least. So the way my team is right now, and just going like I said earlier, based off your team for your trade, I need to get younger at running back and younger at receiver. Well, I just need to get younger, I guess basically you could say. So I would need like a RB2 and a wide receiver 2 with one upside, or vice versa, either or. But or just one of those and a high 2020 draft pick. Because for me, the 2019 draft class is not anything, and I'm not saying that's what you offer. I don't remember if it was 19 or 20, but just to say, the 19 draft class is not anything I'm personally super interested in.
Right.
Looking towards 2020 looks a lot more interesting, but for me, to get Matt Ryan off my hands with having Deshaun as my backup, my only other backup until I see where Nick Foles goes.
Mm-hmm.
I would need it would be something of that caliber just to kind of.
So when you say high, you mean first rounder?
No, for 2020, no. It could be anything from first rounder to an early second.
Okay.
Or mid to early second, not necessarily a late.
That's interesting. Okay. All right. Just kind of wondering where you were valuing Ryan going.
And I'm gonna actually, when we talk about people to target, I felt like I left out a whole lot when I was telling everybody why I was so excited about the Falcons offense. I didn't have anything to back up, so I've got plenty of that when we move forward into the next segment.
Awesome. All right, let's talk about one that I seen here online that was interesting. We just talked about one of these players. I seen a guy trade, and this my guy, Kenyon Drake and Sam Darnold for Josh Allen and not Antonio Miller from the Bears, wide receiver. Anthony Miller. I thought that was got two unproven quarterbacks. Now, Allen, to me, has gotten the best of this situation, but the question comes down between the uncertainty of Drake and the uncertainty of Miller. Who do you think won that particular trade?
That trade is so, without being able to see the rosters of the guys and seeing what the needs are, just looking, just knowing the names.
Right, in a vacuum.
I would say,
Yeah, in a vacuum, without knowing all the information.
Right. I would have to say the Josh Allen side won, and it's mainly just because of Josh Allen. We saw him really coming along, and he became one of our favorite guys to watch.
At the end of the season.
If you listen to this podcast, we talked about Josh Allen quite a bit close to the end.
He made me watch a Bills game finally.
It was fun to see him being Josh Allen and LaShawn McCoy all in one. But getting Josh Allen and it was Sam Darnold and Anthony Miller for Josh Allen, and who to get? Kenyon Drake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So getting Josh Allen and Drake,
Josh Allen and Miller. And Miller for Drake.
Josh Allen and Anthony Miller
for Drake and Sam Darnold. I thought that was an interesting trade. I mean, to me, it was very even. It really just depends on, obviously what you need. But if you're just looking at talent for talent and who you expect, I think I would, just because we've seen what Josh Allen can do, I think I would have taken that side of the trade. But Darnold did show a little bit right at the end of the season there. I think that last game or two looks like he may be getting a little more comfortable with the NFL game. So we'll see how that one turns out. It was kind of interesting to me. And I have another one here. Now, this is actually one that I personally proposed to a person that was starved for a wide receiver. And I am in one of my teams, I am wide receiver heavy. I probably go about 5 deep, people that I could possibly start. Now, of course, you got your upper tier, but I mean, someone I wouldn't mind plugging in. So I went Golden Tate and a second round 2019, I believe, may have been 2020, one of the two, for Jordan Howard.
And you were giving Golden Tate?
I'm giving Golden Tate and a second round pick for Jordan Howard, and he didn't accept it, but I wonder what you think about that. What do you think about Jordan Howard?
Jordan, unfortunately, 1 year. We've seen Jordan Howard do well. We've seen Jordan Howard do good enough to get him to where he was drafted last year, early to mid second rounder. And a lot of us, well, I'll say me. I'll just talk about myself. Me personally, I have an issue of really keeping a bad taste in my mouth, even if it's just 1 year, of a running back. And not only being, it's one thing to get Adam Gase, but it's another thing.
Gase.
Yeah, it's one thing to get Gase, but it's another thing to have the opportunity to just, for some reason, it's not clicking, but the guy right behind you is time and time again. And then that guy's still gonna be there next year as well. So,
would you have taken that offer?
Want to get in a vacuum? Quite possibly. Golden Tate is going to be a free agent. We don't know where he's going to go or what have you. If he stays with Philly, that's another year in that system.
Yeah.
You get to see him possibly grow. You know what he has done. I think last year was one of his only years without 100 receptions.
Right.
He continued to do it over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, it was supposed to be tough. It was supposed to be a tough call. I wasn't giving too much up for the uncertainty behind Jordan Howard. And hearing things like, Kareem Hunt might go to the Bears. The Bears are possibly looking to draft a running back. We'll get into some of the running backs coming out this year. There are a couple of stars out there, little diamonds in the rough, so to speak, that I think that you can possibly get out of the 2019 draft. But who they may bring in, because Jordan Howard, he does what he does. He's that first and second down back, but they want more versatility. They want a guy who can really excel out of the backfield, where it's not, either it's, Cohen catching the ball or Jordan Howard running the ball. I mean, that gives away way too much of your playbook when you know the guy in the backfield we're not throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting. I'm not sure about his value going forward. Even when he's drafted, I can't see Jordan Howard before the fifth or sixth round at this point in time.
Yeah, funny thing, actually, one of my leagues did a really, really early draft. We actually drafted last Sunday.
Oh, my God.
Super early. Yeah,
you guys are hard up.
It was fun, but yeah. So I took this opportunity to kind of see where guys are going this early and kind of seeing how that's going to change as the draft happens, as we figure out where people are going and things of that nature. But Jordan Howard did go in the 6th round in this particular draft.
Okay.
Actually went 6.2.
Okay. Yeah.
Not if you can get Jordan Howard in the 6th round after you potentially got maybe 2 starting running backs, your 2 receivers and a tight end or what have you, and that's your
the number 3 running back possibly.
That's tremendous value.
Okay. Yeah, I think about the same thing for Jordan Howard. He does have a chance still to be in that system. He did show he had a couple games last year. So as a number 3 running back, which we're going to talk about number 3 running backs here a little bit more, I think he would be a good value. What else do you got, man? What else have you been looking at?
Yeah, so this trade happened in the same league, and I didn't. They were talking about it in the chat. I didn't really say too much about it, but I did kind of sit back and at first I was like, "Wow, that's awful." But then I thought about it, and I don't know. So the guy, the Chris Godwin owner, gave up Chris Godwin, and in return he got Albert Wilson, D.D. Westbrook, and Jalen Samuels.
DDO.
And now we know that, well, we not know for sure, but it's quite possible that Deshaun Jackson leaves.
Right. And I'm hoping he does. Oh my gosh, I'm
Yeah,
hoping he does. I just don't please go. Please trade him to the Rams. I don't understand why the Rams would want him because he's
yeah. I think that train is more so him wanting to be
yeah.
there as opposed to them wanting him. But yeah, and I know
Please.
the hype train here, at least on this podcast, is a little more towards Humphreys.
Yes, sir. Toot toot. Please, if he's traded, I'm good. I'm good on my Humphrey stock, man.
The funniest thing about that is at the beginning when we first started the podcast, I think we were both pretty high on Chris Godwin. With every right to be. I mean, he was supposed to be that guy, and I believe if Deshaun Jackson goes, you still kind of have the hope that he's going to be that guy. But with Humphreys there, you can't look past that. But just looking at the trade, how do you feel about giving up Chris Godwin and acquiring those pieces?
I think that it depends on what we're going to get out of, and we don't know, Tampa Bay next year. Again, I think we spoke in one of our previous podcasts about Jameis Winston and how he came back looking, after I think he got benched, I don't want to say more mature, but more reserved. The guy, he's not such a Wild West gunslinger. I'm throwing the ball in a triple coverage trying to fit it in. It's a wow factor when you fit it in, but it's an interception, 7 times out of 10, and all these turnovers. So he got a little more reserved when he came back, and I think that actually benefited Humphreys. I'm a big Adam Humphreys guy. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not over the moon, like going crazy. He's the number 1 wide receiver or anything like that, but he's, to me, a super solid 2.5. I really like him.
Wait, real quick, are you saying Adam Humphreys is nothing special?
Oh, gosh. Folks, we don't have time. We don't have time to get into nothing special, but he's special to me, but his stats are nothing over the top. They're nothing out of the ordinary. Okay, just quick reference. We're talking about Adam Thielen, and I was saying Adam Thielen's numbers are nothing special. 90-some receptions, 1,200 yards. Don't get me wrong, that's great. I want him in fantasy. He is an asset. I'm not trading him for peanuts. I'm not dropping him to the waiver wire. He is a very, very, very solid wide receiver 2 on the fringe of a wide receiver 1. But don't make him out to be like, a Terrell Owens kind of a season. Like, he had a decent season. And I don't think he's going to repeat that where he had basically 100 yards and a touchdown for each of the first 8 games of the season. That's going to be tough to repeat for him. So I think he's a really good wide receiver, and we were getting to this back and forth with the guy in one of our leagues, and I said his numbers are nothing special. We were talking about Kelsey or Thielen. Kelsey, to me, is a special tight end. We got 4 or 5 tight ends that we can count on in this doggone in fantasy football. You got Kelsey, Ertz, looks like George Kittle, and who else? Who else can you say 100% I can count on that's going to be a solid tight end? You can maybe throw, oh gosh, I've got his name out, the Colts tight end now. Ebron, maybe him because of how much Luck loves his tight end. Maybe Greg Olsen if he ever gets healthy. That's about it, though. You're not really high on anyone else. Those 3 guys. So if you can get one of those tight ends, you can replace Adam Thielen. We were saying that Jarvis Landry, he's about 1,000. He had 86 receptions, 1,000 yards. Okay, Landry did have a better season, but Kelsey doubled the production of most tight ends. Thielen did not double the production of most wide receivers, in my opinion. So neither here nor there. That's a long explanation for something very funny. I'm glad you brought that up. Godwin. So I like Godwin. I like him. I think in that offense, it's one of those offenses where all 3 of those guys can eat. I think it will be a question between Humphreys. Who's going to have the better game? Someone's going to have a good game, someone's going to have an okay game, and someone's going to disappear. And I think more often than not, you'll see it being Evans and Humphreys having the good to all right game, and Godwin will flash in there every 3 or 4 games with a really solid game for you. I like that trade. I don't hate that trade. And Albert Wilson and I want to talk about him actually in a second because I'm glad you brought him up. No, you know what? I'm not going to talk about him, but needed him to. Albert Wilson was having a fine season for the Dolphins before he got hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
D.D. Westbrook with a horrible offense and a horrible quarterback had a really good season. And I'm see if I can pull up his stats real quickly. I'm not sure if you have them in front of you. But he had a really good. He was the leading receiver for the Jaguars. Now you do have Marquise Lee coming back, so there's that. But what Westbrook had? Okay, 66 receptions. Again, this is a horrible offense. 717 yards and 5 touchdowns. Not, Blake putting the world on fire here, but you got to think about the offense he was in and the amount of points they scored. That was pretty good.
Right.
So if he gets a good quarterback there, and then you have Jalen Samuels, the tight end apparently, who's versatile depending on where you are. So yeah, I don't hate it. What you thought the Godwin side was lopsided for Godwin?
Well, yeah. When I first looked at it, honestly, yeah. When I first looked at it, I thought the guy that gave up Godwin definitely got the better side of it, getting Wilson and Westbrook and Jalen Samuels and all that. But as I looked at it, I did see, it's definitely more even than you think because, the Jalen Samuels owner is not, he does not also own James Conner.
Okay.
So he just owns Samuels.
So would you have given up Godwin for that, or are you saying no?
Yeah, I think I could have. I could have done it. I definitely could have done it. I would have been fine. As a Godwin owner, I think I would have been okay not doing it. I would have been fine doing it. So, yeah, okay. I mean, it was,
yeah.
I liked it.
And the reason I was talking about Albert Wilson there is I do want to bring up a trade that I have in the mix right now. This is between you and I and the listeners.
Breaking news.
Yes, breaking news, and I'm fearful because if it goes through, I'm probably going to get trashed a little bit here for someone saying I'm taking advantage, but I'm probably not taking advantage. I don't know. It depends on what you think. So here's what I have in the mix right now with somebody. I have MVS, and I like MVS. I'm not, super high on him, but I am interested to see what happens. Does he take that step to the number 2 receiver in that Green Bay offense? Interesting. MVS in a 3rd-round pick for Albert Wilson, Demaryius Thomas, Ito Smith, and a 2nd-round pick.
MVS
and a 3rd.
And a 2nd or a 3rd?
And a 3rd.
Okay, MVS and a 3rd.
For Albert Wilson, Ito Smith, Demaryius Thomas, and a 2nd.
Oh, Albert Wilson, Ito Smith, Demaryius Thomas. And you're trying to get MVS?
No, I'm trying to get Albert Wilson, Ito Smith.
Oh, you're giving? Okay.
Right.
I got you. Okay.
And it's something that we've kind of negotiated that the person has been sitting there for a couple of days because the person hasn't had the opportunity to come check it out. But I don't want Demaryius Thomas. They was like, listen, I'm just giving you Demaryius Thomas. I don't want him on my team anymore, but I just can't cut him. But I want to give him away. So it doesn't matter. I would have done it for Ito Smith, Albert Wilson in the 2nd. But what do you think?
Okay. I was going to ask about the Demaryius Thomas, but he's a tag along. Gotcha. I don't hate it. I really don't because we saw MVS being used quite a bit with Rodgers, and he seemed like it was going to be something. And then we saw duds also. And then as it went on, it was like, what happened to MVS?
Right.
He's kind of gone now. And we saw Ito Smith do really well behind Tevin Coleman, and I mean we all expect Tevin Coleman to move on.
Exactly.
So it'll be Devontae Freeman and Ito Smith there, and then Albert Wilson. Whether Devontae Parker's there or not, Albert Wilson seems to be the number 1 receiver in Miami. I actually really like that.
Yeah, me too.
Albert Wilson, I believe, is only 25, 26. Ito Smith is 22 or what have you. And then you still have, even though Demaryius is a tag-along, you still have the potential of him to put together, off season to get healthy and put together something.
He will be on the block immediately. Like give me a fourth rounder, I'm good. Like I'm not worried.
Just to make the trade look a little better on your side and get that extra guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I like it.
Okay.
I like it a lot.
Okay. Good. All right, man. Let's see here. I got one more I want to talk about for the second time. Then we got to jump into these players we want to target. If you have another one, we can talk about it as well.
I had one more too. So
okay, I'll let you go first. My last one is kind of a doozy, and I might take a little heat on it. You go ahead and go first.
Okay, this is actually one that I received, and I just I haven't responded or anything. I was waiting on the show. I was just going to leave it here. He offered me A.J. Green, and it's a lot of draft picks. So A.J. Green, the 2.1 rookie pick, 4th and 5th rookie pick for this year. Also, his 2020 4th and 5th rookie picks for Julio.
Yeah.
It's the 4th and 5th.
Yeah, who cares about that?
Real,
no.
Yeah.
I would counter. That's not bad because when AJ Green plays, he's a top 12 receiver.
Right, absolutely.
He's on the cusp of the top half of a top 12, top wide receiver one. I don't see any. There's no reason unless injury. AJ Green typically doesn't, come around 7 or 8, somewhere around there.
Right. And that's what I was gonna ask. Like when I was looking at it, there's less weapons. There's more weapons around Julio. So even though I'm excited about the offense, there's more weapons there to take away.
Yeah, but Andy Dalton.
AJ has less. Yeah. See, it's either way. Like
Look, what is this guy have the first pick of the draft?
He currently does not have his first rounder. He traded it, so that's why he's giving me the 2 point.
I would consider. How's his team? Has a good team? Is he a top half guy?
He has a whole bunch. He's got like 8 running backs and 3 receivers.
Well, what I'm really getting at is next year, what do you think he's going to finish? Top half, bottom half, what?
I could see it could go either way. He's got a lot of guys. Like he's got Le'Veon. He's got a lot of guys that you're waiting to see what they do. That's what his team is consistent of.
Let me tell you a move that I would make that I would throw out there, and this is going to kind of be indicative of the trade that I'm going to talk to you guys about here in a second. AJ Green, your 2019 2.1, your 2020 first rounder for Julio, and your 2020 second rounder.
See now, that's the other thing for him. He does not have first. He does not have first, third, or first, second, or third for 2020.
No 19 first.
Right. The draft picks that he's sending me are the only. If I take the trade, he'll have no draft picks for this year or next year. Not
for 2.1. That's a tough one.
It's not enough.
It's not.
The 4th and 5th is what. Yeah, if it could have been,
nobody. What's in 4th and 5th round? We've not been doing 4th and 5th round in one of my leagues. I mean, at that point in time, you're drafting kickers. Like there's nothing out there.
Yeah, exactly.
God.
Now some would argue, well, Philip Lindsay went under. That's an anomaly.
Yeah. Well, that is. We're not going to talk about that. That's an anomaly. But yeah, I think you got to stand pat on Julio. It's interesting because 2.1 to me is almost an extension of the first round to an extent. Right. It's on the turn. Well, not really on the turn because if you do it linear, it's not on the turn. But that's.
Now, and I know I said I only had one, but he also sent me this. This is the same thing. It's the same thing, but instead of take out AJ Green, so it's just the picks, and instead of Julio, he's asking for James White.
No. No, I'm good with that. I like the second one worse than I like the first one, and the first one's really, really, really close. If that was like a 1.10 or 1.8, 1.9, I may say pull the trigger on it. Okay, all right. No, I would stay put on Julio on that one. That's close though. That's really close. All right, man. So here's my last one, and this is one you've probably seen, and it I have a little buyer's remorse. At the same time, I don't. This is the league that I came in third place in. We're in that league together. I started off the year probably as the favorite, not knowing exactly what Saquon Barkley would do and CMC would do. I probably started the league as the favorite, and came in third. Now, the reason I didn't win my second round playoff game is because both Melvin Gordon and Aaron Jones went down. And I had to start at running back. I had to do a little context here. I had to start at running back Darren Sproles, who had a fine game, by the way. He had like 13 or 14 fantasy points that game. And Jeff Wilson, I believe. Jeff Wilson, who did not have a fine game. Okay. And I could not, with the team that I have, I had Devontae Adams on there. I had Cam Newton on there, and he didn't have a good game. And I got a bunch of other people. I couldn't score 126 points to get to the championship round. 126 for that league is not a lot. Probably 135, 140 is about average. So I said to myself, I cannot have. You need to be 3 deep at running back. So this is what I did. Right. 2019 1.2. 2020 first. So I got 2 firsts here. 2019, 2020. 2012 2.2 and 2020 third. So my first round pick for 2019, first round pick for 2020, early second round pick 2019, and my third round pick for 2020 for Derrick Henry and 1.8 2019. It's a lot of moving parts there.
Yeah, it's a lot of different parts, but I don't mind giving that up for Derrick Henry, and
really,
I know that, and I know that for the listeners, it's probably like, well, he answered that pretty quickly. You're that high on Derrick Henry. It's not that I'm super high on Henry. Mm-hmm. It's that Dion Lewis is most likely gone, and we got to see when Derrick Henry gets his touches and he can get on a roll. I heard a stat not too long ago. He's one of the only running backs, one of the few running backs in the league that gets 300 touches, over 300 touches, like consistently.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So, and when I heard that, I was, I would love for my running back on my team to have.
Yeah. If you get 300 touches, that's where you need to be. I mean, he scored the majority of his fantasy points the last 3 or 4 or 5 games of the season. So he went into this. He's going into it with a lot of hype, and I didn't want that to affect my decision making here. But at the chance of him giving me, if he gives me 1,008 touchdowns, that's not a phenomenal season by any stretch of the imagination. But that is a solid number 3, and I think that puts me over the top in this league. I think that puts me in the championship round. I feel like I gave up a lot. I gave up the 1.2, so the second pick of the 2019. I gave up the 2.2, so the second pick in the second round of 2019, and a first in 2020. My goal, though, which I did accomplish, was to leave that trade with Derrick Henry, and I still got a first-round pick 2019. So I still got 1.8 out of that.
Right. You still, you were able to get that back, and my thing for rookie picks, especially when you're getting a young guy, I believe Derrick Henry's 25, 26. So when you're and hasn't had, to my recollection, hasn't had any serious injuries or anything like that. So looking at it like that from that perspective, you're getting a proven guy instead of taking a pick where you still have to make a decision. Like, you have the top pick, but it's still up to you to make the right pick.
Right.
taking on Derrick Henry, like you said, with the momentum he's coming in with, moving on from most likely they're moving on from Deion Lewis, so it's going to be returned back to his backfield.
But now I'm scared. Who do they bring in, man? Like, because someone said, watch them bring in Mark Ingram. My heart dropped.
Yeah, I heard that. I did hear that.
My heart dropped. So no, please.
There's a guy that I'm going to talk about coming up, so I don't want to spoil it.
Okay.
But it's a running back that I'm thinking, that he could possibly go there too. But no, I don't see. Now I won't rule it out with the Titans, but I think that they hope to
want to give him a shot. Yeah, you got to get this guy.
Right,
give him a season. Let him see what he can do.
Like we just saw once we finally gave our bell cow actual bell cow work and volume.
Right.
Look what he did.
What did he do?
He kept doing it.
Right.
Week after week after week. So yeah, I think that they should run with him. Let him loose.
Yeah.
and this guy's
free Derrick Henry. Now watch him get gay.
Yeah.
Anyhow, all right.
Man.
Watch him get gay. All right, man. Let's go ahead. Unless you got a real intriguing one here, let's go ahead for the sake of time and move on to your 5 trade targets that we should be looking at. We've run in about 50 minutes, so let's run through this in about 15 minutes. Get the folks out here in about an hour. I'll let you start off. You started off here, man. What do you have for your first trade target you're looking at that you want to?
Yeah, my first guy is it's actually funny because we were talking about this couple guys trying to get him from me. Is Julio.
Okay.
And looking at it from even coming at it from a dynasty point of view, the reason I put him on here because I know he's a star, so I know a lot of people are like, well, that's an obvious trade.
Right.
He's a top receiver. But he's going to be 30 next month, or 31, I believe, next month. So he's getting up there in age, or it might be 30. Either way, and the touchdowns aren't there. So a lot of people are kind of straying, thinking, I'm going to go younger, go this way.
Well, so I think in that fact, Julio is not a worthy choice, but I think we already see that it's going to take a lot to get a Julio Jones. I mean, from you having him, you're giving, someone offered you A.J. Green, who was a wide receiver 1 in all his rights, and a pretty decent second-round pick, and the answer is still no. What do you have to give up to get 2 firsts?
Well, yeah, I mean, we also just spoke on that as well when we were talking about it. If it could have been A.J. Green and, a
late-round first, yeah.
Like just so and like you said it yourself, it wasn't that far off.
Right.
And maybe if AJ Green doesn't get that injury last year, he's not coming off injury. Maybe if AJ Green doesn't have an Andy Dalton throwing, it's more of the Andy Dalton part. He can't help it, so I'll get over that. But it's more so about the injury and things of that nature. So it's not he wasn't too far off.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, so Julio for me is the target, and I'm use this opportunity to talk about the Atlanta passing game and why I'm so overhyped on that, and why I really, 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 really like Julio for this year. So with Dirk Cutter coming back as the offensive coordinator, when he was there, I think he was there for 3 or 4 years. In 2012 to 14. So 2012, Julio had 79 catches, almost 1,198 yards and 10 touchdowns. 2013, he only played 5 games, so skip over that. 2014, he had 104 catches, 1,593 yards and 6 touchdowns. So there was increase. It increased.
Right.
Matt Ryan, 2012, 615 pass attempts. 2013, 651 pass attempts. 14, 628 pass attempts. These are Matt Ryan's most pass attempts in his career.
Right.
These 3 years were the most times he passed the ball. Dirk Cutter's gonna get the ball out there. And then the last couple of stats I want to give were in 2012, Atlanta's passing offense was 8th in pass attempts, 16 yards, 15 touchdowns.
Okay.
2013, they were 3rd in passing attempts, 17 yards. 2014, 3rd in passing attempts, 15 yards. So I bring all those stats up to say with Dirk Cutter returning, the reason I'm so excited about it is because the passing offense is going to get rejuvenated. That's just what Cutter wants to do. He wants to go through the air, and I think that's going to bode well for Matt Ryan and all the passing options in Atlanta.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like it. Obviously, I like Julio. It's going to take a grip to get him, though. All right, my first guy is Sony Michel. I would love to have Sony. I know that backfield is convoluted. I know it's scary. It is. But I think his role, that role that he has is the perfect mixture of, for the running backs they have, the first, second down back, and then there's a passing down back. They still get him the ball 20-some times a game, even though it's almost a handoff every single time. But he is ripping it. I would give 2 first rounds for Sony right now. I would. I want him. I like him that much. And if Rex Burkhead, who's had injury problems, ever goes down, you're going to see some of those passing stats goes up. And I like Sony a lot. Would you give up 2 firsts for Sony right now?
2 firsts for Sony. I don't see why you can't. You know, it's kind of hard for me to sit here and say I absolutely would not.
Okay.
Sony's a beast, and like you said, it's easy to see even in that running. You know, we like to say let's stay away from the running backs by community. Like that's just not the way to go. But in this one, it works.
It works, right?
They can give Burkhead his work, and they can let James White keep his role. But Sony's gonna get 15 to 20 touches a game, and he's gonna give you great production from it.
Absolutely.
I think that's a guy that you can definitely give up 2 first rounders for and feel confident about having him on your team, even with those picks.
Yep. All right, so I'm going to go to my number 2 guy here, and the reason I'm going back to back here is because I'm staying in the same vein on the same team. This is a guy, and I'm not sure what it would take. Maybe you could throw something out because I am an Edelman owner, but Edelman is my second guy. He is so under the radar. People have slept on Julian Edelman this year, and he had another very, very, very solid year. And I'm not even sure. I think the Edelman owner probably would know his value and worth because he played him all year long. But you may be able to get this guy somewhat on the cheap. I mean, maybe a couple second rounders, maybe Mohamed Sanu in a second round or something like that. Here's Edelman's stats on the season. He had, 74 receptions, and I believe 784 yards receiving with 6 touchdowns. Extrapolate that out. He would have had 1,134 yards and 98 receptions. That is knocking on the door of a wide receiver 1, which we expected out of Julian Edelman. We expected that out of him. Here's the funny thing. Here's a really crazy coincidence. 2017, when he kind of was the man for the team, 98 receptions, 1,106 yards. That is what he is going to give you in that offense, close to 100 receptions and over 1,100 yards, and you could probably get this dude on the cheap. He probably still goes in redraft leagues 6th round or later. Where can you get 1,200 yards in the 6th round?
Yeah, right, yeah. That Julian Edelman is going to be great value if you can grab him. Like I said, we did our draft Sunday, and he went in the very end of the 12th round.
Shut up.
Was where that's where he went as of now. He went at the end of the 12th round.
Is that a redraft or is that dynasty?
This is dynasty.
Even still.
I know it's a little different.
Yeah, because he's older. He only has probably maybe 2 years left. I get it, but I still took him like 8th or 9th round. Easy.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, Fitzgerald went before.
Wow.
In this draft, and we know that Fitzgerald was almost about to retire. But anyway, if you can.
What happened in that? Who went number 1 overall? Do you remember?
Number one, Saquon.
Okay.
Number one overall.
Okay, they're a little weird in that draft. Yeah, there. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Edelman, I like his production. I like him in redraft.
Yeah.
And to me, if you can get 2 to 3 years out of a guy in dynasty, he's worth. Now, again, you don't want to give a first rounder up because he's just a little bit too old. But you can go mid-round player. Heck, you can go. I don't know. It's hard for me to think of who you could possibly put out there, but you can go a decent flex player and a second rounder for Edelman and probably get the Edelman owner to think about it, especially if it's a younger guy, a young,
Absolutely.
Yeah, if he wants to get younger.
I like when you Mohamed Sanu and a second. I would gladly give that up for Edelman.
Right.
And I don't know what the
or maybe even like the Anthony Miller we're talking about earlier from the Bears,
right.
Somebody really young, a lot of promise, a lot of upside, and a number two.
Right.
And if you're on that precipice of possibly getting to that championship round, and all you need is a solid number 2 wide receiver, or God forbid he's your number 3, man, you're looking great.
Yeah, and now I will ask you. I did one question about that. In looking at it from a dynasty standpoint, how much does the potential of Gronk retiring?
That can go either way, and that's what I was thinking of. See, because Gronk draws a lot of double teams, but I don't. Even when Gronk's out, Edelman has a decent game. I think his game is impervious to whether Gronk plays or not because of where he plays and because of his quarterback. It's Tom Brady. Don't get me wrong; he may not be throwing 4 touchdowns a game, but he's still Tom Brady. That's why he's in the championship game this year. So we know Brady's coming back probably for another year, maybe 2, maybe 3. And I think Edelman will probably stick around with them. Now, the Patriots are known for being cold, so they might cut him. You don't know, but hopefully he'll stick around. I think as long as those 2 guys are together, man, and Edelman gets those PEDs in on the off season a little bit, I think we're good.
All right, yeah.
I'm messing, Edelman. I love you, man. All right, go ahead. Who's your second guy, man?
Yeah. So this was the guy that I was talking about. Eldon, I think is a target that you should. You can definitely look at. He's going to be a free agent this year. I read a couple things about him. His last couple of games weren't very. Him and Tom Coughlin didn't really click very well.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just performance on the field; it was off the field. So he's likely moving on from that situation. But
you're talking about Fournette, right?
No, I'm Yeldon.
Yeah. Okay, Yeldon. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Last year, in Fournette's absence, Yeldon had combined 800 yards and 5 touchdowns between receiving and rushing. And we've seen, he's when he comes in for Yeldon and plays, and gets actual work, he does produce. Yeldon's a pretty good back. He can be a very good back on potential, different teams. The Titans, if he backs up Henry, he could potentially, now this is once the big guys go, once the Tevin Coleman, the Le'Veon Bells, the Kareem Hunts, when they find their spots, you can look and see what happens with Yeldon. I think he can give you.
There's not that many running back slots out there open that I think that are truly, hey, we are running back away from being where we want to be. You got maybe 5 or 6 teams, and you got some big marquee names out there this year, including Tevin Coleman, including Le'Veon Bell, and there's probably a couple other guys out there who may be moving around teams. There's only like 3 or 4 teams that really, really need a running back like the Jets. I mean, the Bears would like a new running back, but they don't have to have one. I mean, Jordan Howard's capable, you know what I mean? So my question is, wherever he goes, he's still going to be second fiddle. Where do you see him going where he's the number 1 guy?
To be honest, there's 2 places that I'm kind of excited for if he goes there. I can see with the Ravens, potential Ravens looking at him with moving on from Alex. If they move on from Alex Collins,
he's
they have
done.
Gus Edwards. Yeah, right. They have Gus Edwards and Kenneth Dixon still there, but the potential for possibly T.J. Yeldon is there. And then you also look at the Bills. They, McCoy is 30, 31. You have no telling what he's going to do as far as staying there. The offensive line was terrible last year. I feel like they'll beat that up. So those two spots are intriguing to me.
Okay. Yeah, the Bills might be the best because no one wants to go there. And but they do have a rising quarterback, and Yeldon and McCoy. I mean, he's nowhere near as shifty as McCoy was in his prime, but kind of has that same skill set. So, okay. So I wouldn't give anything higher than a third round pick for Yeldon. If you're talking about a pick for a player.
No. I'm not going out breaking the bank for Yeldon. But I do believe that you've got most of the Yeldon owners right now most likely are looking for pieces or draft picks or things of that nature. So I think that Yeldon is one of those guys that you might be able to kind of buy on the low. I think a lot of people hold on to Yeldon as insurance.
Right, for Fournette.
Might be able to get him. Right.
Okay. All right, good deal. Who's your other guy?
Next is going to be Mike Williams for me. Now, the reason that
can you get him?
Have him on the, that's what I'm going to say. The reason I actually put him on the list because we just talked about Julio's going to cost a lot. When I was thinking going through it, I was like, man, Mike Williams might be expensive. Now, this might be where we differ because we had a conversation earlier. But with Hunter Henry coming back, and we saw Mike Williams being used more and more in the offense, he was looking fantastic, getting plenty of touchdowns and things of that nature. With Hunter Henry coming back, we know that Phillip Rivers looks towards Hunter Henry a lot in the red zone and for touchdowns and things of that nature. So I'm not going to say, now you can't get Mike Williams low. I don't think anybody's going to sell him low at all. But I think you can get him lower than what most people may
he's
think.
A tough call. He's tough to even kind of come up with a scenario in your mind because almost like Derrick Henry, he had the end of that, last year, he looked like he could be a solid number one. I mean, anywhere he wanted to go, you know what I mean? And now obviously Keenan Allen is there, and I'm going to talk about him in a minute myself. So he won't be the number one there, but he looks like he's going to be an awesome complement. He's going to be the John Taylor to the Keenan Allen, Jerry Rice. And I'm not comparing Jerry Rice to Keenan Allen. He's not that guy, but he will be a solid number two. It's going to be hard to get him. I'm not even sure. If I was the Mike Williams owner, I would demand a number one. I would demand a first-round pick. It would have to be a first-round pick. Now, I'm not expecting 1.2, 1.3, but it would have to be 1.9, 1.10. And even then, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, especially in 2019, and again, we're going to get into some of these shows here. We'll start talking about this draft class. It's going to be a wide receiver draft class. It's not really going to be a running back draft class. Am I going to get a wide receiver at 1.12, 1.10 better than Mike Williams with more upside, more promise, and on a better offense? Probably not. I'm probably not trading him.
Yeah, I mean, like those are definitely solid points, and that's when I looked at. That's why when I wrote them down, kind of like you can go either way with it because of the fact that, like you said, he did just come off this year, and a lot of people are going to hold on to that.
Like,
I'm going to sell. Like if you want him now, he's going to be high. I mean,
right.
He's high. Like, I'm not going to just give him away for nothing. We don't.
Right.
Hunter Henry, I get it. He's coming back, but he's coming off injury. We don't know what he's going to be.
So
I get, I mean.
So let's say I had to get 1.6, right in the middle. 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, right around there. If someone offered you the first and then the second, 1.8, 2.8, I think that might be enough to make you really think about it. Are you thinking about it for Mike Williams at that point, or are you still just holding on to him regardless?
1.8
and 1.0 and 2.0, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to think about it at that point. I'm definitely gonna. It's not gonna be one of those things I look at and I'm like, let me send screenshots. Look what they said. It's not gonna be one of those. It's definitely gonna be something that I ponder over and then I gotta go back and look at my, things of that nature. So yeah, I think around there, it's not gonna guarantee,
right?
Anybody Mike Williams, but it's definitely gonna get, like you said, it's gonna get the owner kind of pondering and maybe even coming back with a counter
right.
for you guys to even work it out when at first he probably wasn't even thinking about dealing Mike Williams at all.
Right, absolutely. All right, man. My number 4 guy here, no 3, I'm sorry, number 3 guy is Keenan Allen, sticking on the same team you're talking about there. He was another guy who exploded at the end of 2017. People they were thinking, I mean, I heard, analysts saying, hey, he's going to have the most reception in the league this year. He's going to be probably number 1, number 2 wide receiver this year. And he didn't have a bad season, but he didn't have the season most people were expecting when they drafted him right on the turn of the second round this year. He went with that first 3 or 4 picks on the turn. He's still expensive. He's still number 1 receiver. He still had 1,200 yards this year. Don't get me wrong, 96 receptions. So he's going to be expensive, but I promise you the Keenan Allen owner is likely a little disappointed in his year.
Yeah.
You can maybe get him on a small discount right now for a first and maybe a really solid player as well. It's hard for me to maybe think of some kind of a trade in my mind, but for a first and another, maybe a Jarvis Landry, something like that.
That's the exact name that popped in my head.
Yeah,
Jarvis Landry. I believe you could potentially work into Tyler Boyd after the season that he had.
Tyler Boyd, right? Yeah. You can maybe even DJ Moore for Carolina or Chris Godwin, those kinds of guys who. Yeah, I think you can maybe work that out with a decent first round pick for Keenan Allen right now. And I still like him to continue to produce, even with Hunter Henry coming back, even with Mike Williams. And maybe he does take a little bit of a step back, but I don't see anything less than, 85 receptions, 1,100 yards on any given season, even with those other guys?
Keenan Allen is good. Keenan Allen's he's going to get his.
Right.
He's definitely going to continue to get his.
Yeah, as long as Phillip Rivers is there, he's good to go. And Phillip Rivers has had another kid, so he's playing for some time. All right, so my number 4 guy, and we're going to run through these last couple to get the folks out of here. We're running at an hour and 10 minutes. Kenyon Drake, look, he can't get Gase twice, okay? Can't get Gase twice. That's cruel and unusual, okay? Now, reports that Le'Veon Bell, I don't think that's noise. I don't think he's going to Miami. They may have some cap room, but they have so many other holes to fill, including quarterback, including probably a true number 1 wide receiver, that give the guy a shot to run the ball. We know he's talented. I think he gets his shot. Him and Kalen Ballage will probably share that backfield this year because, Frank Gore's going to follow Gase up to the Jets. So he should be all right. And who's your last guy, man? Or your number 4 and number 5?
I really, I just had him, and I started thinking about Gase, and my mind got all jumbled. Goodness gracious.
Want me to do my number 5 while you think about it?
Oh no, I've got it.
Okay, go ahead.
Dante Pettis.
Okay.
Is the guy that I think you got to look at. He was phenomenal going on as the year was closing down, coming to an end this past year. I think the hype right now is around the potential Antonio Brown going there. Obviously, he doesn't get to decide that. The Steelers have to make that decision. But with that being in the air and potential moving on from Marquise Goodwin, don't really know what that situation is. The things that he's been having to go through have been, very unfortunate. But he hasn't produced, what you would like to see.
Right.
So I think Dante Pettis is a sneaky guy, a great target to go after with all these other things that are surrounding the 49ers right now. McKinnon coming back, Garoppolo coming back. You might be able to kind of sneak in and get Pettis.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, he was, ascending and then had that injury. I like that a lot, actually. I like that a lot. Probably wouldn't go, if we're talking about a pick for a player, no more than probably the second round is right around where I would go for him. I'm not maybe second this year, third next year if I'm really liking him. So, but I like that a lot. Just to kind of see what happens when Jimmy G comes back, and if he does turn into that really solid go-to guy for Jimmy, and he has some speed too. He has more speed than I thought he had coming out of college. So
He does.
Yeah, he can get open. So I do like that. I like that a lot. My last guy is David Johnson, running back for the Cardinals. Did not have a great year at all, and that was probably more because of coaching. We've seen him come on a little bit from a coaching change at the end of the year, but he still finished RB10. And I promise you, the David Johnson owner probably has a nasty taste in their mouth about this year. Same quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they may be willing to get rid of him. I think he would cost you at least a first, a second, and maybe a mid-tier player. Maybe a guy like I don't know. Now that you mentioned him, I have T.J. Yeldon all on my mind, but I don't know. Trying to think of someone who could possibly, but yes, or maybe an the number two running back on a good offense kind of guy, like maybe a Eckler or something like that. That's not maybe Eckler, but in that range, a first, a second, and a mid-tier player. You could probably
a Mark Ingram, something like that with potential.
Yeah, certainly. So I like David Johnson to have a better year next year. Still ended up RB10, half point PPR. I mean, for a bad year, a year we know that's beneath him, he could probably be top 5 next year again.
Yeah. No, I love, I really like David Johnson coming into next year, especially with Fitzgerald returning a lot. I don't, for the people that, when we look at fantasy, we're all looking at catches and things of that nature. But Fitzgerald is a fantastic blocker, and that's like another old lineman out there. Right? He blocks one of the best blocking receivers out there. So yeah, that opens it up for David. I like it.
Absolutely. Who's your last guy, man?
Ooh, I like. Now this is kind of, once again, it's a wait and see. But Keelan Cole, to me.
Oh no, not falling for that crap again. Negative. 5th round pick, 5th rounder.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Well, if you
kicker land
Keelan Cole for a 5th round pick, then you send it and you go get Keelan Cole. I'll say that.
He's on waivers for you, sir. Have it.
Listen. I will get all the free shares of Keelan. I believe Keelan Cole is, other than Marquise Lee, I think he is the most talented receiver there. I think if they can get a quarterback who I'm thinking highly that Nick Foles is probably the most likely to go there, but we don't know. So I think if they can get a quarterback there, Keelan Cole has all the measurables, the speed, things of that nature to have a good year.
You got Marquise Lee coming back. D.D. Westbrook has shown he's probably the number 1 guy there. You don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I fell for the Keelan Cole deal last year too. Can't do it 2 years in a row. But good luck. I hope you can get him on the cheap, definitely. Folks, you heard it here. Go get Keelan Cole, but we haven't. This may need to be a wrapping bet. Unfortunately, we have to wait for a whole year. But we have to put this to a bet, man, because I don't. Nah, I'm not doing it. But I like it though. I like that under the radar kind of stuff we do here. Come get some good content from the Joes guys. I got an honorable mention, and I'm going to get out of here. A guy I traded for, and probably a little hyped on him because I traded for him. Chris Warren for the Oakland Raiders. The guy he's a dude. He's a dude, man. He can run that rock. Went kind of under the radar coming out of Texas because of a couple of injuries, but he was looking to make some noise last year before he got injured in the preseason. But I think they're excited about him, and he can catch. He's 6'2", 245. He's a dude. Check him out. All right.
I've actually ever since you made that trade, I've been seeing a couple of people kind of target, because I'm gonna have to go look a little more into this guy because I wasn't paying him any attention.
Yeah. For a second there, you couldn't. Before the season started, before he got hurt, you wasn't getting Chris Warren. He looked like he was going to lead that backfield there in Oakland with Marshawn Lynch there. He was a man. He's a little bit more agile, same size, a little more agile than Derrick Henry, and he can catch. He was a tight end, I believe, in high school as well. So,
interesting.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. Anyhow, folks, we've been going for an hour and 17 minutes. We're going to get you out of here. Dave, unless you got anything else for the people, we're going to go ahead and wrap up.
No, that's all. I hope you guys enjoy the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. As per usual, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Go Rams. All right. We're signing off.